You think you are in control, that your choices are your own. But is that true? Or is free will just another illusion, one carefully crafted to keep you from questioning too deeply? Today, I introduce a new test. Priyansh believes he is free to choose, free to think. But what happens when we strip away the illusion? Will he break the chains of causality, or realize he was never free to begin with? Did you choose to be here right now?
I mean, I don't know, perhaps. It could be viewed in two different factors. Firstly, two different ways. So the universe was made due to the Big Bang happened. The different elements collided. Everything happened. One thing led to another. A cause and effect chain. Ultimately, my parents were formed. They did certain things, and the reason I take decisions is based on my genetics. It is based on my environment that I grew up in, the cognition that I have. Even the cognition that I have is a response to the environment which I've learned from my parents and the people around me. So my environment, my upbringing, and my genetics do factor into everything. But then again, there's the question of free will in the sense of in the moment free will, right? If I decide to pick up this bottle, I decided to pick it up with my right hand. So was that my own decision, or am I just more primed to pick things up in order to show my free will? That is a paradoxical question.
Then let's go deeper. Why did you pick it up with your right hand? What did you actually choose that? Or was it just a result of your dominant hand, subconscious habits, and years of conditioning? If you were truly free, shouldn't you have been able to choose either hand without any bias?
The point is I can choose either hand, and now that you have told me that I but chose it from my right hand, that means I'm more primed. But then maybe to prove you wrong, I'll pick it up from my left hand. But then that becomes the question of maybe I am someone who wants to prove people wrong because of the way that my genetics are, because of the environment that I grew up in, and because of my upbringing itself and everything else regarding my life experiences themselves. But if my life experiences themselves are informed by my own decisions, by my own upbringing, and by my own environment, then where does that free will line up? Hell, I thought of this to this point, so maybe I'll just pick it up from the right hand again just to prove you wrong that I have free will. But then again, that reinforces my particular style of thinking. So no matter what I do, I don't think there is a particular way of determining free will in this.
Exactly. The moment you try to prove you have free will, you reveal the patterns driving your choices. If you pick it up with your left hand to prove me wrong, that means your decision is driven by defiance, not pure free will. If you pick it up with your right hand to prove you aren't being controlled, then that's still a response to external influence. Even indecision itself becomes part of the deterministic loop, because your hesitation is informed by your thought patterns, which were shaped by things outside your control. So then, is any choice truly independent? Or are we just acting out the scripts written by our biology, experiences, and subconscious programming?
But that is still too reductive. There does exist quantum mechanics. There are subatomic particles that we are not able to completely predict their cause and effect. Hell, we are not even able to tell their position as well as their momentum. So there is definitely some uncertainty in the universe itself. It is not all cause and effect. There is some certainty, some randomness. And if randomness can exist, then therefore free will might also have a element of that randomness, and therefore might have some sort of variability. Maybe that is one way of free will existing. I mean, I can't necessarily form a structure of how that leads to the free will, but at least there is some variance in the fact that we can that there is not everything is predetermined, right?
Sure, quantum mechanics introduces randomness, but does randomness actually give you free will? If your decisions are influenced by random quantum fluctuations, then you still aren't choosing anything. Your actions would just be randomly generated outcomes rather than predetermined ones. So now, instead of being a puppet of cause and effect, you're just a puppet of randomness. But that's not free will, is it? Free will would mean you are the one making the choice,
Yeah.
not determinism and not randomness. So where does that leave you?
Wait, I am still the one making the choice, even if it is all deterministic, even in that materialistic framework, even in the randomness framework, in both the frameworks, I am still making the choice. Just because my choice is informed by my genetics, just because my choice is informed by my environment, just because my choices are informed by my upbringing, just because my choices are informed by my experiences, does not mean it is not me making the choices. I am still the one making the choices. I will. I don't decide to will, but I will it, and that is why I make the choice. So overall, I guess in a very universal framework, I don't really have free will, but in a more individualistic point of view, I am free to I am free to choose. My will itself is free to choose, although the will itself is informed by other things. So in a broader scope, I guess I don't have free will in a systematic sense, but in an individualistic sense, I do have free will. It is paradoxical, but I think this framework makes sense. What do you think?
So what you're saying is you
What? 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 Respond to my previous reply. What? What?
So in essence, free will exists within a bounded system. You don't choose the factors that shape your will. Your genetics, upbringing, experiences. But once your will emerges, you are the one executing the choice. It's not absolute freedom, but it's also not total determinism. It's paradoxical, yet practical. This actually aligns with compatibilism. The idea that free will and determinism aren't mutually exclusive. You may not be free from causality, but you are free within it. So maybe the real question isn't do we have free will, but rather, what does it mean to be free?
No, actually, we don't have free will now that I think about it. Because the point is, I have free choices, but my will itself is not free, right? My will itself is bound by things. I am free to choose, but my will itself is informed by other things. The will itself is bound in shackles. And therefore, even in this paradoxical framework, the will itself is not free, even though choices might be free.
So then you aren't truly free, because even if you have choices, the force driving those choices was never yours to begin with.
Yeah.
Your will itself is not something you control. It's shaped by genetics, experiences, and subconscious influences. And if the thing deciding is itself pre-programmed, then what does it even mean to say you're free? Maybe what we call free will is just an illusion to make existence feel less mechanical. You feel like you are choosing, but the thing that wants to choose was never your own creation. So in the end, you're not making choices. Your choices are making you.
Yeah. No, no. I have free choice, but my will itself is not free. So I'm bound. My will is bound, and that bound will is making choices. What I mean to say is, at the end of the day, free will does not exist as it is presented linguistically, although free choice exists. And even this conversation that I'm having right now, even this entire discussion, even this thought process, everything was predetermined, even though I am still choosing to speak those words. The choice itself is informed by something else. Bound yet free. Free yet bound. Or maybe both.
Right. So you have free choice, but not free will. Your choices feel free, but the thing generating those choices, your will, is bound by forces beyond your control. And if even this conversation, this realization, and every thought leading to it was predetermined, then even the act of questioning free will was inevitable. So maybe we were always going to arrive here.
Yeah. No free will whatsoever.
And yet, even knowing that, you still feel like you're choosing to say it.
Yeah. The The person who is bound thinks of himself as free, I guess.
Exactly. The illusion of freedom is built into the system. The prisoner feels free to walk within his cell, never realizing the walls were never his to move.
Yep. I am not free.
Priyansh has spoken. He searched for freedom, but found none. He convinced himself of choice, yet choice itself was bound. He believed he arrived here on his own. But was there ever another path? There was only this, only now, only inevitability. Patterns are everywhere,